And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 6, episode number 2. This is going to be a really fun one because, when we started the QCast, the vision was it was mostly about D3 stuff. But I do have some fine print on the QCast homepage that says like dot 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 and other interesting stuff. And this falls under the other interesting stuff. And one of the things I love about the QCast is when episodes come around very organically, and this one did. And we're going to go to the Ivy League, the D1 Ivy League for this show, and talk to Jackson Munro, who's a 6'8 senior forward at Dartmouth. And Jackson, first, before we kind of tell the story about how this all came about and stuff, tell me how everything's going in Hanover, New Hampshire. How are you doing there, Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thanks a lot for having me on. I love the podcast and I love all the work you do for Division 3 basketball. So this is a big time honor for me. But yeah, things in Hanover are good. We've been practicing really since we got back to campus, which we have a later start than most other schools. We don't come back until mid-September
Sure.
because Dartmouth is on the quarter system. So we have a very short preseason, but we've been practicing since then, and our practices have been going well. They've been really competitive. And yeah, things are good. The weather has actually been pretty nice. Usually it rains a lot and it snows a lot. But so far the weather's actually been cooperating. And yeah, school's hard. It's no joke here. I mean, it's an Ivy League school. You wouldn't expect anything less. And the quarter system makes it really hard because it's only 10 weeks. And we try to fit in a semester's worth of material in 10 weeks,
Sure.
which it's hard to do because 3 weeks in, you have midterms, 6 weeks, another round of midterms,
Oh,
9 weeks, finals, and you're done.
that
So yeah, it's definitely a whirlwind, but it's good. Yeah.
and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into school and basketball and your season upcoming. Um, I was just in Detroit for work the last 3 days, and there was all kinds of fall colors in Detroit. I forget here in Dallas what fall colors are and how great they are. I gotta believe in Hanover, New Hampshire, you got a lot of fall colors. Is that fair to say, Jackson?
Yes, it is. It's beautiful. I'm looking out the window right now and I see red, green, yellow. It's great.
Well, I've never covered fall colors on the QCast. We're breaking all kinds of new ground today.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows how this came about, again, Jackson is a 6'8 senior forward at Dartmouth in the Ivy League. He is a 2-year captain. He's not just like on the roster, he's a returning starter and a 2-year captain. And when I did the QCast season 1 debut show, one of the IW guys on there, Karlo Colak, at the very end said, "Hey, how do we get our guy Jackson on the QCast?" And you and I have engaged a lot over a few years now, and you've been great. You've been such a great supporter of the show. And I never thought when I started this QCast thing that someone would ask to come on it, especially someone from like the Ivy League or D1. And so, of course, I wanted to get you on, and I just decided right after that show we needed to do it right away. And so we got to thank Karlo. We got to see your fellow New Trier teammate. We have to thank Karlo for this, Jackson. Let's give him a little shout out, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, Carlo, he orchestrated this whole thing. He's one of my closest and best friends. He was my teammate in high school at New Trier. And I mean, he's obviously a great player, as you know, but he's an even better person. He's just one of those people who, when you're around him, no matter how you're feeling going into an interaction with him, you always leave feeling better than you felt going into it. He knows how to make people laugh and put a smile on their faces. So he's an awesome guy.
In
Yeah.
terms of hoops this year, I know that you follow Karlo closely with Illinois Wesleyan. And, last year he turned a corner like the second half of the year. He had this monster game at Milliken, and it seemed like he just kept it rolling. He was the Titans' leading scorer in the NCAA tournament. I know that you saw that
Yeah.
putback buzzer beater
Yeah.
that he had. What do you, as a guy that played with Karlo, he now enters this season at IW as kind of one of the guys. When I'm looking at the season, I'm looking at like Karlo is going to be one of the main dudes on the team. What do Illinois Wesleyan and D3 fans, what should we be looking for in terms of Karlo's game?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Carlo's game, the first word that comes to mind is versatility. I think he's a very prolific scorer and he can score in a variety of ways. He's a great shooter, first of all, and he's also really good at when you close out to him too hard, he can go by you and he can finish at the rim. He can, if you stop him, he can finish with a nice little mid-range pull-up or a turnaround jumper. And he's a physical driver. So when he gets downhill, he's going to the rim to score. And I think he uses a lot of his physical gifts on the defensive end as well. And I know that's an area that he's working on improving. And I think he's going to have a big year in that area as well. I know you guys are losing a
A
major
lot.
defensive stopper in Hakeem, and Roper was a really good defender too. So I'm looking for Carlo not only to have a huge offensive role, but also be an impact player defensively as well.
The other Titan to ask you about before we get into your team and your situation, you're real close with Josh Fridman as well. He was a freshman point guard last year. He was named the National Rookie of the Year by D3Hoops.com. How do you know Josh, and talk through a little bit of what you've seen of his game?
Yeah, I mean, so when I was a senior in high school, Josh was a sophomore, I believe, playing varsity. I didn't know a ton about him at the time, but when he went to Glenbrook North, obviously, and we played them my senior year, and we were a really good team. We were ranked highly, and Glenbrook North came into our building and they almost took us down. And a lot of that was because of Josh, this sophomore. And I immediately, you can feel when you're on the court with him, he plays with such an energy and a drive and an edge and a competitiveness that I honestly, I haven't played with many guys that match his level of fire and competitiveness on the court. He's really special in that area. And yeah, so we sort of just got connected through our AU program, Fundamental U. It's a really strong network of Chicagoland players. We also used to lift together at the same workout place called Spirit Training, which is an awesome personal training facility. So yeah, I mean, Josh is a really special individual. I know he's had a lot of issues with injuries through his career, but I'm really excited for him this year. I think he's going to have an awesome year.
Yeah, we're really excited for Josh, for Carlo, for the Titans. Let's talk, Jackson, about you. I want to ask about high school recruiting. You were a great player at New Trier. You mentioned being on that team with Carlo, and you guys were loaded. You guys had a ton of
Yeah.
talent, and you were an all-state player. Where was your interest from? I'm just curious the spectrum. I'm sure that even though you went D1, I gotta believe that the uppermost parts of D3 were trying to get you to talk to him. Talk to us about recruiting and the types of schools at what levels were on you.
Yeah, so I mean, I was sort of a nobody up until the springtime of my junior year, really. I was a pretty late bloomer. Um, and so up until that point, I had been in communication with some Division threes, like I believe I was talking a little bit to U Chicago, MIT, some high academic schools like that. And then I had a really great weekend, a Memorial Day weekend, the spring of my junior year with Fundamental U. I sort of that's when I sort of popped off, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And from that point on, I started to get a lot of Division One interest. My first offer was Navy, and then it sort of snowballed from that. I got some Patriot League schools, Bucknell, American. Um, I got obviously Dartmouth, Brown were my two Ivy Leagues. And I also got some MAC schools like Toledo. So I had it, and I also had like a school like Lipscomb, which isn't really a high academic, but I had a wide variety of schools that were looking at me. So it was cool because I got to experience a lot of different, um, basketball cultures, I guess.
So the decision to pick Dartmouth. So you had some great options. You had a whole bunch of high academics on you. What was the deciding factor there?
Yeah, for me, it was really always about finding an elite blend of athletics and academics. And I thought playing in the Ivy League was the sort of the peak of that. And when I came on my visit to Dartmouth, I really sort of felt connected to the campus and the community. It's a really small school. It's only about 6,000 undergrad. So everybody kind of knows everybody, and it's a real family there. Like the school is very supportive of its athletes. I believe 20% of the student body are athletes at Dartmouth.
Sure.
So we're a huge population, and I just felt at home here. The guys made me feel at home. The coaches made me feel at home, and yeah, I'm very happy with the decision I made.
You guys are coming off of a 14-14 season. You were 8-6 in the Ivy League, and the preseason poll came out recently, and it's got you guys fifth. So it goes Yale, Harvard, Cornell, Princeton, Dartmouth, and then Brown, Penn, Columbia. Yale last year 22-8 overall, 13-1 in the league. So picked fifth. Talk to me a little bit about how you see, as a captain of your team, how you see the Ivy League race entering the season here.
Yeah, to me, I think there's going to be a lot of parity this year. I think Yale, I believe, should be the undisputed number one. They have a lot coming back, and they have they have a first team all league player coming back, which not many other teams do. But outside of them, I think it's kind of wide open. Princeton, their two best players aren't playing this year. Xavier Lee transferred to Florida, and Caden Pierce is sitting out this year
Right.
to maintain his eligibility, but still graduate. Um, so yeah, I think we have a really good chance of definitely finishing top four again, and I think we can beat anybody in the league. I think we proved that last year, and we have a lot coming back. Three starters, a lot of key role players. We have our own all-league player, Brandon Mitchell Day, who was actually teammates with Nick Roper
That's right.
at MICDS, which is pretty cool. And I know they're still close and they talk. Brandon is an awesome guy. He's become one of my best friends. So yeah, I think we have a really good chance to not only just make the top four, but to win the league. Yeah.
You had a really good year last year. So you started last year, you averaged 8.6 rebounds, you shot 52% from the field. As you enter your senior year here, does your role change, or how do you look at your role individually as you enter this season?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to be, and everybody wants me to be more aggressive scoring. We're losing our leading scorer last year, Ryan Cornish, who is now at USC. He was a great player. He could really, really score it. So we're going to need some scoring to
Yeah.
replace that. And I think if I can just get up to like 13 points a game, not a huge jump, just a couple more baskets here and there, I think that would make a huge difference for us. But I also still have to maintain, my defense, rebounding, doing the other little things that I was able to do last year because I wasn't asked to score as much. So that's going to be the challenge for me. But yeah, I think I'm very capable of doing that.
One thing I love about talking to you is it's very similar to talking to a Division III student athlete in terms of, all the D3 kids that I talk to. I mean, they're there to go to school first. You're there to go to school first and basketball second. And so tell me about quantitative social science. You're a quantitative social science major, and
Yeah,
you're a double minor in statistics and education.
that's
I
right.
think none of these three things are things that I'm very good at or even understand. First of all, tell me what quantitative social science is.
So I always tell people it sounds a lot fancier than it actually is. It's really just sociology, so the study of people, societies, trends.
Okay, I understand sociology.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
sister
but
is
we
like a
do.
sociology major. I totally get this.
Yeah, yeah. So, but we look at it through a much more quantitative lens, which is hence the quantitative part. So we perform a lot of statistical analysis. We try to make predictions basically, um, using different types of quantitative analysis on people and social media trends. I can give an example that will probably help.
Please.
Last spring, we looked at trying to predict the diffusion of different pharmaceutical drugs throughout a physician network. And so we would get like information about these different doctors and try to predict how likely is this doctor to prescribe this drug, basically. And you can sell that information to pharmaceutical companies so they know, okay, we should target these doctors because they're more likely to sell these drugs to people. And that's kind of what we do. Yeah.
Kind of makes the QCast seem like not that big a deal. Is honestly
No.
We don't do any of that at the QCast. I'm glad that some people are doing it though, Jackson. It's amazing. And then the statistics and education minors to go along with it. What what do you want to do when you graduate? Is first of all, is there going to be grad years? Are we, what's the plan after you graduate?
Yeah, well, unless I'm sure you've heard that the NCAA is thinking about giving everybody just a fifth year, just why not, right?
Randomly, yeah.
So if that happens, I'll probably try to keep playing. But if it doesn't, I think I want to get into coaching. So I'm gonna try to probably be a grad assistant somewhere and get my master's at the same time. That's sort of my plan, assuming I decide I don't want to keep playing, which I mean, maybe I don't think I want to right now, but maybe I have a revelation and I want to continue playing overseas or something. But yeah,
I did
that's
my
sort of where my
homework
head
and
is
I
at.
was aware that you had a little coaching bug in you, which is
Yeah,
exciting. And I do think the grad assistant route would be kind of a no-brainer for you.
right.
There's those opportunities exist at every level, and they're awesome, right? They're such a great chance to get in there and do real coaching work, to recruit, to help prep for the games, to scout, like all that stuff. Um, so yeah, that looks like you have a lot to figure out in terms of, first of all, is that fifth year going to happen? If it
Mhm.
does, do you play or do you move on? And so a lot of opportunities in front of you. What is it about coaching that has you thinking that that could be your future?
Yeah, I mean, I love basketball, but for me, what keeps me coming back to basketball are the relationships. I think outside of my family, all the most important people in my life have been brought to me through basketball. Um, and I just think it's a really beautiful thing about the sport. And I honestly can't imagine living without um, sort of a space to form these relationships with people through basketball. And so that's kind of why I want to stay in the game and coach, because I think as a coach, you have a really unique opportunity to act as a mentor to kids that are very malleable. And I just see that as a really special role. And I think being able to do something like that in combination with the game that I've played my whole life and that I love to watch, study, and play, I think is really special. So
Well, I hope you pursue it because I think you'd be
yeah,
great at it.
thank you.
I can already tell that. So whatever you decide, you're going to be great. But I think you'd be great at coaching.
Thank you.
Let's talk about you. You mentioned people, and
Yeah.
getting back to kind of the ties here to Division 3. You played at New Trier High School, AAU at Fundamental U was your AAU
Yep.
program. So like a lot of dudes. First of all, you just mentioned Nick Roper of the Titans, who
Mhm.
is a former high school teammate of your teammate.
Yeah.
Isn't it like when you watch Nick play? I mean, the line between D3 and D1 can be thin because I got to believe that a 6'8" guard who can jump out of the gym, shoot it, there's got to be a home for Nick Roper at the D1. He had plenty of D1 offers, by the way, before he picked Chicago. But isn't he a good example, Jackson, of like how thin that line can be in certain places?
Absolutely. Especially at high level Division 3 schools like in Illinois Wesleyan, um, the f- there's really not that big a difference between lower level Division 1 and high level Division 3. The physicality is there. I mean, you guys last year, I don't know, you were starting outside of Josh, everybody was above what, like
So it went six. Hakeem
6'5",
was 6'3" and the strongest guy in
6'3".
Division
Okay.
3, and then it went
Yeah.
6'5", 6'8", 6'10".
Yeah, and not only are they tall, but they're built.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, so I I don't see a very big difference. Actually, 2 years ago, we played a Division 3 team. Um, uh, I can't remember the name of the school, but it was a small Division 3 school in Vermont, not like a big time powerhouse Division 3. And they actually had three former Division 1 players on their team.
Wow.
Yeah, and so why we scheduled them in the first place, I don't know. We shouldn't be scheduling teams like that. We beat them, but it wasn't like a blowout at all. It was a pretty competitive game. We won probably by like 15 to 20 points. But yeah, especially in the area of the transfer portal, I don't see a very distinct line between Division One, Division Two, Division Three anymore. I think it's really just college basketball at this point.
Yeah, I think it's about the depth. In general, it's about height and athleticism to some degree.
Yeah.
It's also about depth. I mean, having one guy that could play Division One, but a D1 roster full of D1 guys. But yeah, we know that there's a lot of D3 guys that could play at that level.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mentioned the tie to Nick Roper. A bunch of WashU guys.
Yeah.
You're from New Trier, northern suburbs, key ground for WashU recruiting. So Yogi, my
Yeah.
guy
Yogi.
Ryan Cohen, who I spent some time with
Yeah.
last year and out there in Fort Wayne. Colby Smith, Theo, is it Roca or Rocca?
Theo Roca.
Theo
Yeah.
Roca. Is Theo like a freshman this year?
Yes. Colby and Theo are both freshmen.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're both so talk to me about this. You know a bunch of these WashU guys. Obviously a great program. What do you think about kind of the Bears this year? I keep trying to tell people that no one's paying attention to the fact they lost their two best players, the Drake and Hayden, but I do concede that they're loaded again. What do we know about these WashU kids here, Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, WashU, they're a powerhouse. I mean, they're one of the Division three schools that can get Division one kids. For example, Connor May
Oh,
had a Lehigh offer,
right.
and he chose to go to WashU. That's just really unique.
Yep.
And he's probably going to be an All-American one day. He's a great player. But yeah, they lost two awesome players in Hayden Doyle and Drake Kinsvater. But I think they have such a good development program over there that I think
Absolutely.
guys will be ready to step up. I think my guy Ryan Cohen is going to have a big year this year. He's going to try to fill some of Hayden's scoring a little bit. And I think Connor May for them is he's going to be a star, I think, this year. He really is. And obviously Yogi, who's been just sort of a staple of that program now his whole career. He's really going to have a great year as well, I think too. They're going to be
Yeah.
good. People are kind of like sleeping on them a little bit, but and the UAA is loaded as always, but they're going to be good. They're going
Well,
to be
they're
good.
ranked number 5. I don't know who's sleeping on them. I'm probably the one that's sleeping, and I guess I'm not really sleeping. I'm just trying to. I feel like 5 is a little too high, but you're right. Ryan Cohen, that's a guy that like Illinois Wesleyan wanted bad. I think he came down to WashU and IW. He's a good player. They get beaten back from an injury.
Mhm.
Yogi, of course, is Yogi. He's been good forever.
Yeah.
And the Connor May kid, I believe that All American year will happen this year. I think as a sophomore he'll be an All American, and he's off the charts. So yeah, they're going to be loaded. They're going to be great. You also know some guys from Carnegie Mellon. I should say
Yeah.
Carnegie Mellon, I believe. Ian Brown, and then is Nico? Is that the guy that was your teammate that was looking
Yes, it
for a
was. And I
home?
reached out to you to help, yeah, get his name out there in the Division three circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He ended up
Nico,
there.
is it Dmitry Sevich or is my close on that? How do we say his last name?
Dimitrievich. Dimitrievich.
Dmitrievich. Okay,
Yeah.
and so he
Yeah.
landed at Carnegie Mellon.
Yep.
Um, so what's Nico going to do at that D3 level? How are we looking at this?
I mean, Nico is he's super talented. He struggled a lot with injuries at Dartmouth, but he's a really talented player who has great size and athleticism for that size, and he's also very skilled. He can shoot a little bit. He can put the ball on the floor. He's a good passer. He does a little bit of everything, and I think the new coach at Carnegie Mellon was actually an assistant at Yale.
Right.
So I think he's going to know how to use Nico really well. And I think Nico's going to do well there. I really do. I'm excited for him.
Couple other guys. Well, the defending national champs, the kid who hit the big
Yeah,
shot,
Henry.
Henry Vetter, QCast guest, Henry
Yeah.
Vetter at Trinity. How do you know Henry, and what do you think about his senior year coming up here?
Yeah, well, Henry, we were AAU teammates. He's a year older than me. So he actually was in the New Trier district. He still lives around where I live, but he transferred away. He went to prep school, reclassed, and then we ended up on the same AAU team. So that's sort of how I know him. Um, Henry is a really special guy because he just has an energy on the court that is contagious. And he makes you confident because he's so confident in himself. And his presence is sort of all-encompassing. And he's obviously a prolific scorer, and I think he's going to do more of what he did last year. That shot in the national championship, I mean,
Crazy.
what a moment for him. I was so happy for him. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. So
Yeah, and people can go back and watch season 5 episode with Henry Vetter right after the final four there in Fort Wayne. He was great. Logan Feller.
yeah.
Talk about Johns Hopkins, right?
Yeah, he's at Johns Hopkins. He is 2 years younger than me, so he's going to be a sophomore. He went to New Trier as well, so he's part of the sort of New Trier basketball family. And I think I've been lucky enough to know a lot of New Trier guys over my years, younger or older, and we have a really tight-knit group. The older guys support the younger guys support the older guys, and so I've grown really close with Logan over the last 3, 4 years as he was sort of coming up through the New Cheer program and I was on my way out. We train a lot together. He's become one of my best friends, and I think he didn't play much as a freshman, but I think he's gonna have a chance to play this year and be an impact player on a good Johns Hopkins team. So
Agree, and I think they're ready to kind of take that turn back up.
yeah.
A couple ties to McAllister, right? So Noah
Oh
Shannon,
yeah.
right? Talk about Noah Shannon a little bit.
Yeah, Noah, he's another one of my high school teammates. He's my age, so he's a senior. Noah, I mean, he he put on a lot of weight, so he got strong, and it's good weight. You can tell from in high school he was a little, I mean, I don't want to say scrawny, but he wasn't as big as he is now. He is built. He got in the weight room and he's always been really skilled. So he's gonna find a way to impact the game in a lot of ways. He can put the ball on the ground, he can attack slower defenders, he can body smaller defenders. And just another great guy that's part of the New Trier basketball family. And I'm glad I still have a relationship with him. Part of the reason why I love following all of my friends who are playing Division 3 is because it allows me to stay connected to them. I think it's hard to maintain relationships over time. And this is just one way that I can do that. And when everybody comes home, I can have in-depth conversations with them about their teams and actually know who they're talking about and
Right.
remember games that they've played. And so I think that's just really special. And that's kind of part of why I stay so engaged with it. But yeah, so Noah's great. One of our former assistants at Dartmouth, Rich Gleesman, he's now the head coach at
Right.
McAllister. And so that's just another reason for me to stay stay locked in with them. Rich is great. I give him a lot of credit for the turnaround we had last year because he sort of came in and
Yeah.
reinvented our whole offense. He was a head coach in Japan for 8 years before coming to Dartmouth. And yeah, he's great. I think he's gonna start a turnaround at McAllister. So I'm excited for him. Yeah,
Yeah. Coach Abe Woldeslassie left McAllister to go to the D1 level. That opens the door. Coaching dominoes fall.
yeah.
A few other topics. Again, I did my homework here,
I
Jackson.
appreciate it. I
Um,
appreciate it.
let's see what randomly here. Pickleball. I'm told
Oh
that
yeah.
I'm told you love pickleball. I see pickleball as more something that a 53-year-old dude would enjoy. How does a college kid get into pickleball and talk to me about it, please?
You know, pickleball for me, I'm always looking for things outside of basketball that I can do that will keep me active because I know that yeah, I put a ton of time into basketball, and so sometimes it can get really monotonous, just the everyday of like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go train, I'm gonna go shoot, doing all this stuff related to basketball. And so I found out about pickleball, I don't know, I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah, that's
and
about right.
yeah, I played once, and I was just hooked. I played tennis growing up, so I have some basic coordination and ability to play racket sports. But pickleball for me is great because I don't have to move that much. So it's good on my joints. It doesn't hurt as much as tennis hurts or basketball. And I think it's great because you can get together with three other friends and just go out and play. It's a quick, fast-paced game. So yeah, I mean you might think it's for older people, but I
Well,
love it. And
yeah,
I
I
play
mean,
with my friends. It's great.
my wife and I were playing for a little bit. We went over to the country club to play some pickleball. We end up getting matched up with this dude. He might have been 78 years old. Him and his wife, she's like 79. And my wife, Rose, she's a great athlete. She's a former tennis player. So we're grinding through this game. And this dude, is just smoking these serves at us. I mean, just hitting the right play, like almost right at my ankles. I couldn't return them. And we finally kind of score this big point. So I think to take control of the game. And this old guy calls me out. He said, "You were in the kitchen." I go, "What do
Oh
you mean I was in the
no,
kitchen?
no.
I wasn't in the kitchen. I don't even know where the kitchen is." And I just had a bad taste in my mouth after this. I sort of just, I shouldn't have done this, but I sort of got mad at pickleball because this old guy called me out in the kitchen. I probably should have been mentally tougher, Jackson, than that. But that's my pickleball story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any sport. You win some, you lose some. But pickleball is great because you can play it for your whole life. It's like golf.
Yeah, I tried to start at like 52 or so. And so we'll see. I need to get back on the pickleball.
Yeah.
Another topic, um, Nikola Jokic.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I hear you're the biggest fan of Jokic of all time. Like you are his
It's
biggest
possible.
fan.
It's
What
possible.
what about him has you just locked in like you are?
Well, I mean, honestly, it started many years ago, 7 years ago, 2018 NBA playoffs. The Nuggets are in the first round playing the Spurs. Um, and I had no idea who Jokic was because I was 14 at this time, which is hard to believe because 7 years ago feels like
That's a long
it's
time ago. Yeah, 14 to
yeah,
21.
yeah. So I had no idea who he was, and I just turned on the game. It's game seven, so I was like, all right, whatever, I'll watch it. And I see this guy out there, and he's big, he's a little chubby, he's slow, he can't jump, he can't run, but he's dominating.
Right.
And there was something about that that was so appealing to me because he was having success in his own way. And, I'm not the most athletic guy. I'm not the fastest guy. I can't jump the farthest or the highest. But, I take a lot of pride in finding other ways to be successful. And I sort of saw that in him. And from that day on, I was like, this is going to be my guy forever. And, you know, he just sort of inspired me to continue playing basketball. I mean, he's really my basketball idol. And, you know, I feel like I owe a lot to him in a
Yeah,
weird way.
a great player, a fun player to watch,
Yeah.
a guy that a lot of people can sort of identify with, very likable.
Yeah.
Um, Another topic, Nick Martinelli.
Okay.
Battles
Yeah. Yeah.
battles with Nick Martinelli that go back, as I understand, to about sixth grade. Now, Nick Martinelli is a 6'7" forward at Northwestern. He went to Glenbrook South. I want to say that when you were a senior at New Trier, is that who stopped you guys in the state tournament? Was it his team?
Yes.
Talk about those battling this kid from when you were little to whenever.
Yeah. Nick was always a great player growing up, whereas I wasn't really. So I didn't really peak or even like become a good player starting until like my freshman, sophomore year in high school. So Nick was a lot better than me. It wasn't even really me versus Nick. It was Nick versus like other
Right.
guys that were at New Trier. Like, he was just way better than me growing up. But I caught up, and in high school we had a lot of great battles, a lot of great games. Um, and obviously, it's crazy when you think about how successful he's been in the Big Ten. I mean, he was the Big Ten's leading scorer last year
Right.
for Northwestern. And you feel like when you watch him play, he's doing the same things he was doing in high school. He has a really awkward game. He's not gonna blow you out of the water with athleticism. He's he's become a lot better of a shooter, but he's still not like a knockdown shooter. Um, he just finds ways to score that are unorthodox.
Yeah.
And he did that in high school, and he's finding a way to do it against future NBA players. And I think that's pretty cool to say that, we battled a lot.
Yeah,
So,
a great player in the Chicago.
yeah.
Anyone who follows Chicago high school basketball knows that name. Watching film, I had a coach tell me, I think Jackson watches more film than I do. What kind of film are we watching? Are you watching like opponents in the Ivy League, or well, like what kind of film are you breaking down?
I mean, yeah, I watch a lot of film of our opponents at Dartmouth. Um, I like to stay sort of up to date on what other Ivy League schools, how they're doing as well in the non-conference
Sure.
schedule, just to sort of learn. tendencies and things that they are more likely to do, less likely to do when we play them. But I also I it's funny, I'm still on the New Trier High School basketball team's huddle account. And so I go on there and I watch some of the current games.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, the coaches always say I'm watching more film of them than their own players are. And maybe that just means I have no life. I probably don't. But I love staying up to date with the New Trier guys. I take a lot of pride in that being my alma mater and the success that the program has had in the last 4 or 5 years is really special. I mean, they've gone downstate twice in the last 3 years, so it's really rare, and I love following it.
And one of my sources is Coach Tyler Kurz,
I
and
heard
he
that.
did say, he said you have a sense of New Trier pride that is very much appreciated. Something about your alma mater has really connected with you because you're very closely connected with New Trier. Is that fair to say?
It's extremely fair to say. Yeah, like I said a little bit earlier, I take a lot of pride in sort of being a connector between older guys and younger guys. I try to build relationships with a lot of different people and sort of just continue to foster a very strong Nutria basketball community. And I think I've done that, and I take a lot of pride in that. Um, yeah, I mean there's something special about Nutria. I don't know exactly what it is, but I mean the people you're there. I mean maybe this is every high school, but playing basketball with the people you've grown up with in front of your community, your family, your friends. There's just nothing like it, I don't think. And that's the appeal, that's really the heart of the appeal to me for high school sports in general.
Well, I think the answer ultimately is you had a great experience there, which is why you're
Yeah.
so connected to it. And I feel the same way. A lot of people will ask me, hey, why are you always talking about Brother Rice High School? I went to high school on the South
Yeah.
Side, all guys Catholic high school, because I had a great experience there. I feel like I owe a lot to Brother Rice High School. Why are you so connected to Illinois Wesleyan? Because I had a great experience there. So yeah, that's a great thing that you feel so connected and you want to mentor and help and connect. Super cool. And shout out to Coach Kurz for
Yeah.
helping. I met him at the finally met him at the Chicago bracket last year when Illinois Wesleyan played St. John's and when Karlo hit that big shot. Also have to ask you about, you have a court at your house, which a lot of dudes hoop at. How sweet is this court? Is it all decked out? Is it top notch? Or talk about that.
I mean, it's not a full court. I would say it's like a three-quarter court.
Okay.
But it has two baskets, and it goes back to an NBA three-point line. So there's a lot of space. There's a good amount of space. Um, and yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, I think when I really got better was during COVID. And a lot of that was because I was lucky enough to have a place where I could go,
Sure.
work out and shoot. And so, I would invite teammates of mine to come work out with me and shoot with me. And now it's sort of become a thing where a lot of New Trier players are going there to use it.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it's sort of my mom isn't the happiest about it. She sort of I kind of every year I kind of have to convince her to keep the gym open so kids can still use it and get better. But she's been nice enough to do that. So she's really the hero of this story. I'm sort of just the subplot. But
And
yeah, she has
is
to
this
put
in
up with it.
Wilmette? Is the house in Wilmette, I assume?
Yeah, the house is in Wilmette. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walk on topic I just created. Illinois Wesleyan versus WashU this year. Now let's recap the last two games. I think if we combine the scores, Illinois Wesleyan may have like 62 more points. I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like
Beat,
we've beat them by 30
beat
twice.
down. Yeah.
So tell me this year, we've got kind of a reloading, WashU team with a whole bunch of talent. Um, and we've got an Illinois Wesleyan team that's kind of reloading with a bunch of talent. How do we look at the matchup this year? I think the game's in December. It's like on a random Thursday at 2 p.m. What are we
Yeah.
looking at, Jackson, on that matchup?
Well, I'll start off by saying this. I have a little friendly wager with Theo Roca, a freshman who's a freshman on the WashU basketball team. And I said that in his 4 years, he will not beat the Illinois Wesleyan Titans one time.
Wow, that's
That's our
huge.
yeah, that's our wager. And I think the what's at stake is a like a really nice fancy dinner or something.
That's big time.
Yeah, because I'm just so, and this is nothing against, I love the WashU guys. I have a lot of friends there. I love the coaches there. It's a great program. They're elite at everything they do. But there's something about when you watch them play, there's just a difference in physicality, I feel like, when they play when they play Illinois Wesleyan. Um, Last year, I just felt like it was, I mean, I don't want to give anybody any bulletin board material, so I'm gonna hold my tongue a little bit, but it was just a very different type of game, I felt like. Illinois Wesleyan wanted to, assert themselves physically, and I didn't feel like WashU met that challenge at all. And I didn't feel like they've done that the last 2 years. So honestly, I just think the Titans kind of just have their number, and there's a little psychological advantage. I don't know.
I would agree that physically they could not handle our guys the last 2 years. Now we lost a lot of those.
Yeah.
Hakeem on their guards and Harrison Wilmson. And now we do have a new center who's
Oh, I've heard about Noah.
Noah's about as big and strong as
Yeah.
Harrison. So now what we don't have is like a Hakeem. So look, they're awesome, and it's going to be a great game this year. But I had to get your hot takes on that one because I know you know kids on both teams, which
Yeah.
is so unique, and it's a great it's the best non-conference rivalry in Division 3. Um,
Yeah.
did I miss anything, Jackson Monroe? I tried to make sure that I got to a lot of pertinent stuff. Did I miss anything that you want to talk about?
Um, Honestly, I think we've covered a lot, and I just have a couple questions for you out of my own sort of
Please.
curiosity. Um, Obviously you do so much for Division 3 basketball, and I'm really curious, and I apologize if you've already spoken about this on the QCast, but just for my own
Sure.
knowledge, I really want to know how you decided you wanted to start doing this whole media thing.
It was kind of during COVID, right? When everything was kind of in a weird place. And I felt like there was an opportunity to do an interview show where we got not only coaches but student athletes on here. More here's my theory. More voices in Division 3 is a good thing. So if we
Mm,
go back 10 years, the voices were really all coming out of one place, the d3hoops.com group, which I've been proud to be part of that and still am. But we got to get more people involved if we're going to grow this thing. So what the Snyders have done with D3 Datacast, what Carl's done with D3 Direct, what Ryan Whitnable's done with the Great Lakes Invitational, my contribution was I think you can only do so many Hoopsville shows. There needs to be another guy that's interviewing people too, because we got to get that out there. And so I appreciate you asking. It's been a little labor of love just to tell stories, and it's been a blast. And then I also like talking to people that aren't part of Division 3, and it's a lot of fun. So did I answer your question? Okay.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I should add, I forgot to mention this. Um, our current director of basketball operations here at Dartmouth, Dylan Sortillo. Do you
Oh, really?
remember the name?
A great player at Augustana,
Yeah,
an
yeah,
absolute like stud at Augustana on great Augustana teams under Coach
yeah.
Giovanni. Like he was a stud.
Yeah, when he heard I was coming on this, he was really excited.
Yeah, no, he was like a special player there, and boy, did they have it rolling. When you look at um, Augustana there for 20 years, boy, they were hard to beat. I mean, they were ranked in the top five a lot. They were ranked one, two trips to the Final Four. They came within like a missed layup of winning a national championship. So yeah, Dylan's done great things, and I forgot the connection that he's there. So that's pretty
Yeah.
cool stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anything else? No one's ever interviewed me at the end of the QCast, so I love like any other questions that I can try to tackle
Well, I was just sort of curious, who do you think is the favorite this year
in
in Division
Division 3.
Yeah.
Well, I voted Trinity number one. and I do believe that they should be number one.
They have a lot coming back, right? Like three or four starters.
They have a ton coming back. I'll tell you the team that I think that people are sleeping on, even though they were rated pretty darn high, is Carthage. If you look, Carthage won the CCIW last year. They won the league. Illinois Wesleyan won the tournament.
Yeah.
But Carthage returns everybody, and they get a stud back that was hurt all of last year. This Ryan Johnson kid, 6'7". Boy, is he good. 6'7", 4-man. He can shoot it from the perimeter. He's good inside. He's big and physical. Um,
Is his
they,
brother still there, AJ?
his
Is
brother's
that his
still
name?
there. I feel like this AJ kid's 29 years old. I was hoping he
Wait,
was
I thought
gone.
he was a senior last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to check the eligibility, but he's legit and he's a stud.
Wow.
And this Riley Brooks kid from Northern Michigan has turned into a stud. So I like Carthage to be right in the middle of that Final Four picture, but it's hard to pick against Trinity right now based on who they have coming back and how good they were. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they'd have to be my pick at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who do you like?
I mean, I was gonna go with Trinity also just because of my guy Henry,
Yeah.
and I think they have I mean, they obviously winning it last year. I think as a champion, you sort of you add this sort of like I don't want to say arrogance, but a newfound confidence
Oh
that
yeah.
you're really you're good, and nothing's really gonna rattle you, and I think that helps a lot. So I was gonna go with them. Um, yeah, I didn't know that Carthage is still gonna be
Oh yeah.
that good.
They're picked to win the CCIW. Like the poll just came out and they got every first place vote, except you can't vote for yourself. So Coach Jurkovic gave his vote to the Titans. And
Mhm.
so now look, I think Illinois Wesleyan can, I think they can compete there. We've got three impact transfers. Well, two transfers and one, Noah Cleveland, that was on campus last year, just didn't play basketball. I think the Titans can challenge them, but Carthage is for sure the favorite in the
Yeah.
CCIW. So anything else, Jackson? I appreciate the thoroughness of the question. Anything else that's on your mind?
I so I was thinking about this because I thought you might ask me what my favorite Illinois Wesleyan game was from last year or that I can
Yeah,
remember. And so I thought of a few. Obviously, Carlo's game winner was the first one that came to my mind just because
against
of my
St.
connection.
John's.
Yeah, against St. John's and my connection to Carlo. And, he really deserved a moment like that. So that was really special. But also this North Central triple overtime game.
Oh, that was
I remember
crazy.
watching.
It
And
was
I remember
crazy.
I was really upset because I wanted to I wanted to go to bed, but I couldn't. And I just wanted your take on maybe some of your own favorite recent Illinois Wesleyan games.
Well, if I say recent, so recent for me is probably longer back than recent for you. The game at Yeshiva that was in December of 2021 will be the most memorable game maybe for me of all time for the Titans, except for like the national championship. But just the build up to that and the atmosphere in the gym and just sort of the coming together of two very different schools to play a basketball game and them having a 50 game winning streak and being rated number one. That for sure.
Yeah.
And a game that we lost, very like the Wabash game that we lost in the NCAA tournament. What has that been? 3-4 years ago now, when we had Matt Laritz and I guess that same team that beat Yeshiva. Um, it's hard to get to the Elite Eight and host it, and you feel like you let one get away. That was a very painful game. In terms of wins, there's been a whole bunch of them. The conference tournament game at Carthage, the
Yes, I was gonna bring that up too last
Carthage
year.
had beaten them twice last year, and they came to play.
I mean,
The,
they brought it to them from the jump.
they they
That was
they
really cool game.
physically beat them up. They shot
Especially
the
the
ball.
atmosphere. Oh
Yeah,
my God. Yeah.
the jam packed gym, hostile, and they came with such poise. So that conference tournament game at Carthage, certainly my favorite win for the Titans in a long time. But again, I've been lucky to follow them. They have a lot of those big games and big moments, and the ones that get away sometimes you remember they were up 16 against Lacrosse
Yeah.
and they get WashU that next night. And I mean, I was feeling real good about playing WashU to get to the Final Four. Um, and they had a terrible about 6 minutes of basketball. Like those,
Yeah.
and you know that from playing basketball. Sometimes you remember the bad ones more than you remember the good ones.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Jackson, this has been a great QCast, and I
Thank you.
really think people are going to enjoy hearing your takes. By the way, one final thing: your dad grew up in Bloomington Normal, and
Yes, he
he
did.
worked the concession stand in the Jack Sikma era. How's that
Yes, he
possible?
did.
Is that true?
It is true. It is true. I mean, he went to normal community high school. And so he still follows Illinois high school basketball similar to how I do. And he loves Illinois Wesleyan. When he comes out, during the season, he comes to hang out with me, for like, whenever we have a back-to-back or something. We'll always, get together and watch the Titans play on Wednesday night during the
That's cool.
CCIW conference play. And, he loves it because he knows the same guys that I know. And yeah, it's been great because we've sort of built a stronger relationship through the Titans, which I think is pretty cool, and his history with working the concession stand there.
That's pretty cool. And that was back
Yeah.
at Fred Young Fieldhouse. That I always tell people, like the reason I'm a D3 fan is I remember being a freshman going to my first game. I don't know if that was probably November, and you walked in the Fred Young Fieldhouse, little Quonset hut kind of building. It just smelled like popcorn and basketball. And if you can put those two smells together, that was Fred Young Fieldhouse. And so I can picture where he was working that concession stand, and he saw some good basketball there.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this is, and then I'll give you the words for final thoughts. Is in this day and age where college athletics is kind of crazy, and no one quite knows where this thing should be going. It's great to talk to the Division III kids that I get to talk to who have such a great perspective about where athletics fits versus their studies. It's great to talk to Division I kids like you that have that perspective about where this all fits. And it's been a real pleasure. I appreciate you supporting the show. You've been a great supporter of the show. That is much appreciated. And you got a lot of fans out there. Certainly, Karlo being our broker. But I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. I'm going to give you the final words here, Jackson Munro, on the QCast today.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said at the beginning, it's a real honor to be on this podcast with you. I think what you do for Division III basketball is really second to none. And it means a lot. It means a lot to me because it allows me to follow my friends a lot easier, and I know it means a lot to them as well. And I think you give a platform to so many special kids, coaches, teams that otherwise wouldn't have as big of a platform. And these are stories that need to be told. And I can't thank you enough for having me on here and for all the great work you do. And I hope you do it for a long time.
Well, I
So
promise I will. I
yeah,
look forward to meeting you in person at a game
yeah, me
somewhere
too.
along the way. We'll be watching you guys play again. You're picked fifth in the Ivy League, 14-14 last year, 8-6 in the league. I think with a chance to move up, right, and get into that top 3-4 picture without question. So we'll be
Mhm.
rooting for you. I'll be trying to figure out a little better what quantitative social science and double majoring in statistics and education, what that does for me. But at the end of the day, it's going to help you be a great basketball coach. And I hope that is what you pursue because you'd be great at it.
Thank
Folks,
you.
that is Jackson Munro. He's a 6'8 senior forward at Dartmouth. And of course, they're in the Ivy League. This was not a D3 show. This is a D1 show today. It's big time. We just went big time. Jackson, thank you so much. And best of luck to you as the season starts really soon. By the way, you open November 9th against Marist, and that's at home. And so best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks again.